Hi, my name is Coco. I'm a health and wellness coach and I'm hailing from a cool Melbourne, Australia. I'd like to take a moment to remind you to be calm, to be well, and to be healthy. So, this week I've spoken a lot about mental skills training and I'm going to speak about some advice that I've dispensed. So, I've just returned from the Caulfield Rehabilitation Hospital where the father of my children is a current patient. So he's suffered a series of strokes and a mild heart attack. And so his lifestyle choices put him there. So fun and games. So the advice that I've been giving him right from the start was for him to visualize being at home. So on Wednesday of last week, I upped the ante and I told him not only to see himself being at home, but to see himself at the very least pushing an ambulatory pusher just to allow him to return back to his home. So the advice that was given is that he'd probably never be able to return home and that he'd have to go to a shared facility with the assistance of an electrical wheelchair and with 24/7 supervision. Now the advice has changed since I did actually tell him that's what the advice was given. That was a couple, 3 weeks ago. So he's been progressing quite well since I told him that, and for him and gave him the initial advice, to visualize being at home pushing an ambulatory pusher. But so on Wednesday, I upped it just a little bit more by telling him to visualize, not visualize, but to tell his right hand side, which is numb and he's unable to use it. So he's slightly paralyzed. He does get some small movements and he does will those movements to occur. But I told him to actually practice in his mind, moving his limbs, moving his toes, moving his leg. He does make a concerted effort when I'm present to massage his right hand. So I tell him to do things like that, and I told him that he suffered from a series of seizures, and they had him on anti-epileptic medication to help subdue the tremors, obviously. And also with the vasculitis that he'd experienced, which is just inflamed blood vessels, and they were compressing on the nerves. So they had to strike a balance between comatosing him and, therefore reducing his pain, or allowing him to experience some pain and being cognizant. And I said it's a good thing that he is conscious and cognizant of what's going on, because his body gets used to some communication from his brain. So I actually saw him really absorbing what I had to say tonight, because his desire is to return home. And I told him to visualize being out and about, going to the pub and going wherever he wants to. So that's the homework that I gave him. In addition to seeing himself speak, visualizing himself speaking words and thus being able to construct sentences. So tonight he spoke a 4 or 5 word sentence, which is the longest that I've heard him string together. And hey, he's progressing. It is going to be a slow but steady wins the race sort of affair, but if you will yourself to do something, anything is possible, as you know, because if you don't have it here, you don't have it anywhere. Cheers.